All right, let's just jump right into it. Today, we're opening up the historical files on a story that honestly feels like it's straight out of a modern true crime thriller. But the crazy part? It's entirely real. We're looking at America's oldest cold case, the deeply unsettling mystery of the Roanoke colony. We're going to use the facts we have to piece together what we know, what we don't, and what actually might have happened in those early, wildly unpredictable days of American history.
I mean, seriously, what happens when 115 people just vanish without a trace? It completely defies logic, right? People don't just evaporate into thin air. Whole communities don't simply cease to exist without leaving some kind of footprint behind. So it's time to put on your detective hats, because as we go through this explainer, I want you to analyze the facts of this historical puzzle right alongside me. We're going to look closely at the evidence left behind, or actually the chilling lack of it.
Section 1. A hopeful new beginning. To truly grasp the weight of this mystery, we first have to understand the sheer optimism that started the whole thing. The year was 1587, and an ambitious group landed on Roanoke Island. Now, the crucial thing to remember here is this exact number, 115. These weren't just hardened soldiers or wealthy explorers looking for gold. No, these were English men, women, and kids, entire families who made the exceptionally dangerous voyage across the Atlantic. In the 1580s, crossing that ocean meant weeks trapped in a cramped, rotting wooden ship, battling violent storms, disease, and the constant, very real threat of starvation. They braved all of that, carrying their entire lives with them, just hoping to build a brand new life in America. The human stakes here, the emotional investment, were just incredibly high.
But as you can imagine, reality quickly set in on the island. Resources ran terribly low. They found themselves in a completely foreign environment, facing unpredictable weather, unfamiliar soil, and a rapidly dwindling food supply. They needed immediate, massive help just to survive the coming seasons. So their leader, a man named John White, had to make a really tough, frankly heartbreaking call. He decided to sail all the way back to England to gather urgent supplies. He left his people, including his own family, mind you, behind, fully expecting to return to them with full ships in just a few short months.
Section 2. Trapped across the ocean. This is where the story shifts from a tough struggle for survival into a scenario of absolute dread. Look at this timeline. John White arrived and departed in 1587, totally intending a quick turnaround. But then, a major war broke out between England and Spain. This massive conflict, involving the famous Spanish Armada, completely trapped him in England. The Queen literally ordered that every available ship be held for the war effort. No vessels were allowed to leave port, period. So his quick trip turned into an agonizing 3-year delay. Just try to imagine that psychological toll. 3 years of standing on the docks in England, staring at the ocean, entirely powerless, while 115 people waited for him across the world. 3 years of total, unbroken silence.
Section 3. The chilling discovery. Fast forward to 1590. You can imagine the intense anticipation and honestly the profound fear John White must have felt as his ship finally approached Roanoke Island after 3 long years. He and his crew rowed toward the shore, looking for the familiar smoke of cooking fires, listening for the sounds of a busy settlement. But the entire colony had vanished into thin air. 115 men, women, and children were completely gone. I really want that stark fact to sink in for a second. He stepped off that boat ready to finally deliver salvation to his people, and there was absolutely no one there. The silence of the island was just absolute.
If we treat this physical settlement like a modern crime scene, the lack of evidence is absolutely baffling. Usually, when a settlement falls, the earth tells a story. But here, there were no signs of a battle, no arrows lodged in trees, no ruined or burned houses. There were literally no bones anywhere on the island, and not a single drop of blood was found. If they had been attacked, raided, or massacred by a hostile force, there would be a massive amount of forensic evidence left behind. Disturbed earth, broken weapons, obvious destruction. But there was nothing. It was as if they had simply been erased.
Instead of chaos, White found this incredibly specific detail. The heavy wooden cabins had been neatly dismantled. And this brilliantly illustrates a key point in our investigation. Think about it. Dismantling a 16th century wooden structure takes days of coordinated, backbreaking labor. You do not take the time to neatly take apart heavy wooden cabins if you are running for your life, panicking, or under sudden attack. No way. This heavily suggests that the settlers packed up their camp in an organized, deliberate manner and left the area entirely voluntarily. But to where and why?
Section 4. One mysterious CROATOAN. The tension in that deserted, silent village must have been absolutely suffocating. But among those neatly dismantled ruins, deeply carved into a wooden post, was one single mysterious word: CROATOAN. That's it. No map, no explanatory letter, no distress cross, which, by the way, they had explicitly agreed to carve if they were in danger. Just this one word, which was the name of a nearby island and the local indigenous tribe.
Imagine being John White, staring at this deliberate carving, desperately trying to decode the ultimate fate of your family and your people from 9 simple letters left behind in the silent wilderness. Did it mean they moved there? Was it some kind of warming? Section 5, America's Ultimate Unsolved Mystery. Which brings us to the centuries of historical investigation that followed. What does the evidence actually add up to? Did they simply starve, realize help just wasn't coming, dismantle their homes and try to relocate to find food? Were they absorbed by a local tribe like the CROATOAN, smoothly blending into the native population over time just to survive? Or, given the complete lack of a physical trail, did something much darker, much more tragic happen out in those deep American woods? Each theory tries to connect those cleanly dismantled cabins with that one carved word, but honestly, none provide a definitive, unquestionable answer. The frustrating yet totally fascinating reality is this. For over 400 years, the world's absolute best historians, archaeologists, and researchers have scoured the area for answers. They've excavated, they've reviewed the timelines, analyzed the missing cabins, debated the carved post, literally everything we just covered. And yet, there are 0 concrete answers. The final resting place of those 115 souls has never been definitively found. The Roanoke colony remains, to this day, America's ultimate unsolved mystery.
So, based on the evidence we've explored in this explainer today, the delayed return, the missing 115 people, the utter lack of a struggle, those deliberately dismantled cabins, and that single carved word, I want to leave you with this final thought. What do you think happened in those deep American woods? Did they leave by choice, or were they taken? The evidence is all there, just waiting for someone to finally put the pieces together.